Welcome to Chicago Style Parenting, where we delve into parenting life in Chicago and uncover the resources, information, and support that Chicago families need. I'm Amy Johnson, the Executive Director of Neighborhood Parents Network. Our guest today is Samantha Alloway. Samantha is the Executive Director of the Arc of Illinois. She is an accomplished and influential leader known for her expertise in government relations, advocacy, and human services. A mother of three sons, Samantha encountered a pivotal moment when her middle child was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 3. This deeply personal experience has driven her to become a passionate advocate for disability rights. Born on the north side of Chicago and a lifelong resident of Illinois, Samantha has a deep connection to this state and a commitment to the intellectual and developmental differences community. I am thrilled to talk with her today. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you so much for talking with me today, Amy. It's nice to finally meet you in the flesh. It's lovely to see you.
Yes, I'm glad we could connect too. I know you're all over the state for work.
That's right, but that's our job. That's why we're here and we're so proud of it. So thank you so much for letting us talk today about this incredibly important topic. We're happy to help.
Well, we're so glad you're here. About 18% of NPN members have a child with a developmental difference. And according to the CDC, 1 in 6, or about 17% of children aged 3 through 17 years, have one or more developmental disabilities. The Arc of Illinois numbers show that more than 290,000 individuals in Illinois are living with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Many children with intellectual and developmental disabilities receive services through Medicaid, and that is what we're going to talk about today. My research tells me that although Medicaid is available only to those families having limited income and assets, once an individual with disabilities reaches the age of 18, family assets are no longer considered. This means that Medicaid is an important consideration to families of all income levels. Would you agree, Samantha?
Well, absolutely, I agree. Because I know it seems like it's a financial issue, but it's really important to remember that Medicaid serves so many more people than just people with disabilities. We could be specific to this, but it also, there are certain circumstances where it does not matter the income of the family. So if you happen to have a child that is on the MFTD waiver, which is the medically fragile technology dependent waiver, and we could go very deep into the layers of Medicaid, but this waiver alone allows it for families that have children that, let's say, are in a wheelchair, they're wheelchair dependent, or they're technology assistant dependent, that's a child or an adult that speaks through a machine. Those type of waivers and those type of technologies are so expensive for any family, no matter what your annual income is, that Medicaid is able to provide those services and those apparatuses to families to ensure the safety and the inclusion of those children in society. So, and their special education and their services. So yes, it affects everybody. And these are also tax dollars that are going, to these families. So it's going to a place where families can actually get the services and the help that they need. So yes, it impacts families no matter what your income, no matter where you live, no matter what county you're in. It will impact families throughout your entire community.
Okay, I did not know that. So let's assume that some of our listeners didn't know that either. And
Yeah.
let's start from the very basics. What is Medicaid and who uses it?
So in the United States specifically, Medicaid, it's a government program that provides health insurance for adults and children, and specifically with limited income or limited resources. So that's why it's so specific to the disability field. And people that use it are broad-based and all over. You remember, it could be people that are sick. So I have a personal experience with my best friend who was going through chemotherapy. She couldn't work. So it's not that she was low income, it's that for causes against her, completely out of her control, she wasn't able to work. So she went on Medicaid. We're talking the services that go to veterans. It goes to single mothers. It goes to our disability community. It is really the backbone of funding for disability services, not just in Illinois, but nationwide.
Okay. And what services could be in jeopardy if Medicaid's funding is cut?
There's many, but I'll keep it pretty specific. So it could be early intervention therapies for infants and toddlers. This is also something very personal to me. My 9-year-old, who's doing outstandingly well, is doing as well as he is due to his ability to have speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy. So those type of services will be cut. Nursing, personal assistance, day programs, group and community inclusion centers, items that won't be covered by insurance anymore. So equipment, supplies to live. So think about having hospital beds or ventilators or G tubes, anything that's in school. So mental health initiatives, therapy services, and then of course, healthcare overall for children and adults with disabilities. That's what's at stake here. Just a
Frightening.
few things. Yeah, it's a
Right,
lot.
right. Is there anywhere else that families can receive those services or those items?
Well, sure. There is the option of private pay. There's the option of private insurance, which some families do have and are able to. But I could give you a cusp. So when my son was young, I couldn't go to work, and I had a pretty robust resume before his birth. But for us to have a at-home special needs daycare assistant was going to cost us upwards of $55,000 a year. So it puts a lot of families in the choice of somebody cannot work if you have a child with an intellectual or developmental disability, disabilities overall, but those specific ones, there's such you really need a caregiver or a para or a DSP that understands your child and understands their very specific and unique needs. And that's why I'm not saying they shouldn't be paid that much. They should be paid $1 million a year for their expertise and their advocacy. But the reality is most families could never afford that. So that's why.
Yeah. The professionals in public schools who assist students, are they funded? Are those positions funded through Medicaid?
Oh, that's a
Do you
great
know?
question. No, I do not believe that their positions are, but their ability to provide the services are provided by Medicaid. So I could give you an example. So at Fox Developmental Center in Dwight, Illinois, we were just down there. It's a state operated developmental center for adults that have more severe disabilities, intellectual and developmental disabilities. So the staff
Okay.
is paid through the state of Illinois, but Medicaid provides the services and provides the wheelchairs and the apparatus and the ability for those services to be provided.
Okay.
So I
So
guess in a way, when you say that, yes, Medicaid makes it possible for them to provide those services.
yeah, they're working in tandem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what can families do if Medicaid funding is cut and families' services are cut? What can families do? Is I mean, I guess that's where they resort to their own pockets or their private insurance that may or may not cover what Medicaid covers.
That's why we're fighting as hard as we are, because for a lot of families, without being dramatic or without ever being trying to scare anybody, I don't like fear tactics, but the reality is for some families this is a matter of life and death, because there wouldn't be another way for them to provide those services. What you can do within your community that is completely free and can really help a lot of families is to be inclusive. And what I mean by that is to invite children with disabilities or adults with disabilities to functions and let families know that they are welcomed here. That inclusion piece is what can help a lot of families feel their way through. And of course, there's communities that do a lot for their neighbors, but it's all dependent, right, on how affluent is that neighborhood, who's possible, what can each neighbor do for each other. But as far as the day to day within the home, this really is a matter of life and death for a lot of families. That's why we're fighting so hard for this advocacy.
Yeah. Yeah. So social support is one thing.
Yeah.
Um, how can individuals advocate for full funding of Medicaid? And what is the the best thing an individual can do to advocate for services for children with intellectual and developmental differences. But I guess besides that social component that you already talked about.
Thank you. So speak to your reps, speak to your congressional reps, to your state representatives, to your state senators, to your state leaders. The decision's going to come from DC. This, you could talk to your state representatives. They will help you. And I can tell you that the vast majority of Illinois legislatures, they are fighting for this. They want to protect these services. I know the governor wants to protect these services. That's why they're advocating right alongside with us. We did an advocacy campaign that I'd be happy to share with you, where families can
Yeah.
share what Medicaid means to them. We've collected over 150 stories so far. And 7 of them were actually shared on the Senate floor by Senator Tammy Duckworth last week, which was such a win for our families and such a win for the Arc of Illinois. So telling your story, sharing your story, well, not just the Arc of Illinois, but we could help you find your congressional representative. We can help you find your state representatives. And we can also coach you on what to talk to them about here's why it's important. And this is why I want you to support my family by standing up for Medicaid.
That's great. We can put links to all of these things in the show notes. So our listeners, go to our show notes. We'll have all this information. The link, is there a link where people can share their story?
Yes.
And then links to how to find the people to call to voice their concern.
Yep. We will share. Okay. I'll share that take action button with you, and I'll also be able to share it's a survey monkey. We set it up, but we had this group of how could we compare? How could we be a little different than everybody else advocating? And for us, it was giving the power back to the families. And even if you don't have a personal experience with Medicaid, but you have a person you can simply stand up for your neighbors. It doesn't have to just be about your personal experience. It could be about your genuine passion for helping others. All voices are welcome, truly.
So, can you tell me more about how else the Arc of Illinois advocates for people with intellectual and developmental differences? I mean, you collected these stories. That's amazing. You had them read on the floor. That's amazing. What else does the Arc of Illinois do?
Thank you for asking. So we are comprised of different programs here. I could go through all of them, but what I will tell you is that each and every single program is designed to help families through different portions of their disability journey. So we have, special education advocates that we work with throughout the state. We have a transition plan that helps with families from diagnosis to day services to maybe customized employment to residential services. We'd love it to just be one quick button and then your whole path is planned out for all time. But we know that no matter if you have a disability or not, we know that's not how life works. So when those things come along, you call us and we will put you in touch with the right advocates and the right families and the right programs to help your family at that time of need. We have directors that have been, from my math, we have over 175 years of experience on this one team. We have such a strong group of directors because as of now, with me being here, every director at the Arc of Illinois is actually a parent of a child with a disability, which means we're coming to you with this understanding. We are open to your concerns. We're open to your feedback. And we're able to provide that. If you were to look at us as a sales service, we are the broker because we have the contacts with everyone through the state of Illinois to make sure we get you on the right path.
That's amazing that every one of your directors has both a personal and professional background in this work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great honor. This is the best staff. I know that's my job. I am telling you, it's the best team. And we fight every day. Like we fight alongside these families like they're ours, because for us, it is our families. Like we are very protective of everybody we work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. We've been proud to be associated with the Arc of Illinois at our Developmental Differences Fair. the ARC usually has a table and is there to talk with families who come. And last year, Kimberly Johnson, your board president, helped organize our Developmental Differences Resource Fair, and that was really awesome. We've been really grateful for the work that the ARC of Illinois does. So thank you.
No, thank you. Yes, President Johnson is outstanding. I'm very, very fortunate have to receive this role during her presidency, because we've really worked very well together to provide a larger outreach for the Arc of Illinois, and to make us basically the face of family advocacy again, because we know that we have the heart and the means to make this happen for everybody in Illinois. I'm very proud to work with President Johnson on that. I really am.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we love to connect our members and all Chicago parents with the resources that they need to navigate their lives and make parenting easier in Chicago. So we're thrilled to bring this information to families today. Listeners, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Check out our show notes, like we talked about, for links to learn more about Medicaid and the ARC of Illinois. We'll also link to the button where you can share your story if you have a story about Medicaid. We'll link to NPN's collection of resources, including our monthly parent developmental differences parent support group, our parent education webinars, the online developmental differences resource directory, and our annual developmental differences resource fair, which is coming up this year on April 27th at Wolcott College Prep. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for your
Yes,
time, truly.
yes.
And thank you to all
Everyone,
the listeners. We're here if you need anything. So thank you very much.
absolutely. Take good care, everyone, and we'll see you around the neighborhood.